And Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with the first episode, which is the kickoff of the new season for 2022 for Weekly Wrestling Heat. I am Elias, aka I am Mr. Laredo, and I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Moise, Moise H91, if you want to follow him on social media. Um, Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with another episode. We got a little bit to cover today. Man, we missed out last week because of New Year's, so we didn't get to really do the predictions that we wanted for for day one. But we're here to talk about it. We're here to talk about it today. And
Yeah.
what do you think? What was your overall reaction to day one?
First things first, we both want to send well wishes to Roman. Hope all is good with him. Same thing with Ridge Holland. Broke his nose in the pre-show match. It feels like he gets back from injury and then gets hurt again. Like I'm really praying like this is the end of the road for those injuries for him.
Yeah, it sucks, but wishing him a speedy recovery. Same thing with Roman Reigns. Unfortunate, but it threw a wrench in the plans for WWE a little bit, and then come to find out, there's a lot of things that are going on that happened. We'll talk about that kind of have like, how we were talking about the past couple of weeks that WrestleMania season is really unpredictable. Now we're starting to see a little bit of what WrestleMania is going to be.
Yeah, and we're on the bill to Rumble.
Yes. Which which funny enough, we had a surprise entrant that didn't catch people off guard, but it was kind of funny to see that this person that well, we might as well say it, Johnny Knoxville is going to be in the Royal Rumble. Yeah.
I think I think he'll have a fun spot with like Omos or something. Like he'll get in and Omos is gonna throw him right out or something.
Kind of like the Drew Carey, when Drew Carey was in the Royal Rumble, and then
and
Kane came out, and then he just jumped out. I think that's going to be something like that, unless we see him get thrown out the ring because knowing Johnny Knoxville, he's going to want some kind of jackass stunt to happen there, and it'll probably happen. And I think they might even use it in the new Jackass movie that's coming out if they go back into the editing floor and do it.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I'm hoping he's the only one from the cast in there because like I want to see some of these younger talents get in there and show what they can do too.
And we'll talk about it more because there's in the coming weeks, because there is a couple of those shortages more on the women's side. So predicting the women's Royal Rumble is going to be quite interesting to see who's going to join. So I'm pretty interested to see what's going to happen with that. But anyways, getting into day one, I thought this was WWE kicked off the year with a very solid pay-per-view. Even the dirt sheet writers were praising it. Like even the ones that are anti WWE are like, wow, this is something good.
I think it goes to show that like when WWE doesn't have a long like when they get hit to improvise like with the Roman situation and then some matches got to go longer, they get put in a situation where things work out better for them.
Yes, I'll agree with that. And I think that we also saw how WWE can quickly turn the page and just be like, go from, oh, this is blah, to wow, okay, they're listening somewhat, or they're doing stuff to get the people's attention. And this is typically what they do to start to kick off WrestleMania season. So we're bound to see some good stuff coming up. Hopefully, at least I hope. We're bound to see some good matches, some good matchups building up towards WrestleMania, and hopefully it stays that way after.
Yeah, so let's dive right into it. On pre-show, we had Ridge Holland and Seamus versus Ricochet and Cesaro.
I thought this match was good, given the injury that happened with Ridge Holland on that botched flip. And given Sheamus looked a lot like a babyface in this match. and he was
Yeah,
getting the pop from the crowd, and that surprised me.
yeah, dude. I was listening to another podcast, the Going In Raw podcast, and they were talking about like how it seems like everything Seamus has done in the last 2 years has been banger after banger. Ever since the Jeff Hardy theatrical bar fight, everything he's done has been like a banger, you know. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sheamus worked his way onto the Mania card, maybe facing Shinsuke for the IC title.
I would love to see that matchup though, and see what happens with Rick Boogs involved. So,
And Rich Holland,
but
he
and
could
Rich Holland
technically,
too, because
yeah.
if he comes back by then, so he should be back by then. So I'm interested to see, because even like this whole storyline with Cesaro, like bringing up the bar and stuff like that, was pretty interesting, and seeing how that has evolved. And I think Rich Holland, once he separates from Sheamus, if he could keep the injuries on the low, I think that Rich Holland has a very good future as a solo star as well.
Yeah, definitely. This one was just this Ridge Holland injury was just kind of like a weird mishap. Ricochet usually lands those moonsaults and uh, shooting stars on point. It just seems like it was a misstep. So Sheamus ended up winning in what basically turned out to be a handicap match. It looks very strong. I think it makes Cesaro and Ricochet look kind of weak. If I'm WWE, I have them each in the Rumble for 12 to 15 minutes. Have them have a decent showing in the Rumble to make up
And
for
you
it.
know what? And you know what's crazy? I think they've been showing a lot of a lot of what I've been liking is that they've been doing a lot with Ricochet more as of lately. Like even the Gauntlet match, Ricochet looked very good in the Gauntlet match. So given what
He might be
happened
getting that
at
Jeff Hardy spot is because Jeff left, you know?
Yeah, and I like it. I'm glad they're finally finding something for Ricochet to do that's positive, instead of just being being the one that takes the L's most of the time. So a good match. What, even regardless of the injury, Sheamus looks strong. Unfortunately, Cesaro and Ricochet took the brunt of that loss. Made them look, kind of took a little bit away from them, but I'm not complaining. It looks like it's going to be positive for all three of those guys. Well, all four of them once Rich gets back. Um, Going into the main show, we kicked off with the Smackdown Tag Team Championship match, which was Usos versus the New Day. I I will say this is a basically they solidified their case for match of the year in day one, literally. The first tag team championship match of the year, and they solidified their case for match of the year already. Um,
Dude,
Man,
the chemistry they have is phenomenal. It's like they don't even call any spots because they know each other so well, it seems. It was a great match. New move arsenal for the Usos with the 1D, which is the 3D. It's good to see Bubba and Devon showing love as well, especially Bubba because it seems like sometimes he's down on the WWE product, you know?
yeah, and the thing about it, even the commentary, Pat McAfee and Michael Cole put over that move as well, even giving love to the Dudley Boys as well. So I thought it was a perfectly ending, a good ending to a great match. A new move from the Usos as well. So even though we've seen it with the Dudleys, I think it was good to see the Usos add another finisher to their arsenal instead of the double splash. Um, so instead, it made the match even sweeter, in my opinion.
Would you be into Dudley's versus Usos at WrestleMania?
I could see that happen, but it would be up to see if Bubba and Devon can actually are 100%, because
They
Devon
have a couple of
is
appearances coming together, though, from what I read online. They have a couple of meet and greets that they're doing together, so I think they've kind
well.
of worked it out.
It's most, apart from that, it's most on the health state of Devon, because remember, Devon had a couple of health scares within the past couple of years. So it'll be up to see if Devon can be healthy enough and be able to be cleared to do that.
And Bubba is doing like death matches, right? From what I'm
Yeah,
reading.
he's been in GCW, so a lot of people have been. You know what? I will say this: ever since Cardona showed up at GCW, a lot of eyes and Nick Gage showed up to AEW. A lot of eyes have turned into GCW. I mean,
Scotty Too Hottie just went there. Yeah.
Scotty Too Hottie, Jeff Jarrett showed up and basically guitared the crap out of Jeffy Effie. I forgot his name. Effie is the guy's name. Whatever. But
Yeah, we're not big Effie fans here because he screwed over our boy Cardona, so we're not big Effie fans.
Apart from that, I need to. I think GCW is something that has caught my attention that I think I'm gonna start paying more attention to because the cards that they've been having.
I would love for them to fill that ROH void. Just because it seems like they're wrestling like me. Everyone says I'm the anti ROH guy. I feel like the wrestling in GCW is something that can attract more of the casuals that faded out.
Yeah,
I think they could get them back in.
And I agree. I think GCW is that alternative to what Ring of Honor used to be back in the day. Before all before they came into the new well, they never really went new, but like a lot of the old school stuff, the hardcore stuff they used to see, with the exception of the death matches, that's what GCW has turned into. And I think people are starting to like that. And then these surprises, like they had the Briscoes versus Blake Christian and somebody else, and I heard from what I heard that match was a banger as well. So like tag team wrestling is starting to come back up.
It's not going to be for everyone. It's not because I'm not a big Briscoes guy. Briscoes are something that turns me off from wrestling, but there's people that love them. And then putting them in there with like a wrestling style of Blake Christian, even though I'm not a big Briscoes guy, it kind of turns me off. I love everything Blake Christian does, so it's something that would get me to watch.
It was Blake Christian and Alex Zane.
Yes, both that were like on the recent round of WWE releases, but both found work really quick. From what I know Stallion, who also got cut with them, does a lot of the Texas shows. So January 27th, I believe, VIP Wrestling Time another show. So I think one of them might be down here for that.
Hurricane Pro actually just announced Shane Taylor as well, out in Beaumont. So we're about to see Shane Taylor back in the Texas circuit, which I'm loving, and hopefully we'll see Keith Lee back out here too.
He took the VIP title off of JTG last show I went to in Holland, Texas. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. All right. Going back into day one, great match to kick off the show. I thought it was a good banger to just kick off the first match of the year. Then we went into Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss, which I thought was a good cooldown match, regardless of how things went. I thought that Drew McIntyre actually made Madcap look really good.
Madcap is ripped. Like, he's someone I could see like females getting behind if they get him out of his Madcap character and put him back in that fitness gimmick or something. I don't know what you could do with him. Maybe once Seamus and Ridge are done, team him up with Ridge Holland. You got to get him away from the Madcap gimmick. Yes, it's funny, but I feel like he's someone that you could get the female fan base behind.
And he has great potential. I mean, looking at the match, the offense that Madcap did do was good. Those knife edge chops that he took from Drew McIntyre. I think him, Sean Spears, Bully have some, and of course, Big Show have some of the heaviest hands in the business right now. Walter as well. And Keith Lee, because Keith Lee, instead of doing the one hand knife edge chop, he does the double knife edge chop to the chest. Oh, I've seen him do it in person. It sounds bigger than it does on TV. There was one time that he did it on what's his name? He's in Impact. Sami Callihan. Even through the little vest that he wears, and it just just perfection. But yeah, no, I thought this match was a good go-down match from the tag team championship match that happened. Drew McIntyre, of course, got the win. Then we went into the Raw Tag Team Championship match, which was RK Bro versus Street Profits. I thought that this match was a good back and forward. Having Migos ringside was pretty cool to see. It played into the storyline with RK Bro, seeing them give each other props and dap each other up after the match was a pretty good sign of respect towards each other. I like this match as well. I think we've said this a lot of time, but what's his name? Street
Montez.
Profits. Montez Ford is going to be a great single star whenever they decide to pull the trigger on him.
I would like for them to put Angelo in more of a manager role because I feel like if they completely drop the tag team, I could see Angelo being not used or cut, So I would love to see them still do work together, just focus more on Montez's single career.
You know what? I want to see them put them like in a same kind of deal that they do with the New Day. Like I think they like have them do their single stuff but still be together, and then vice versa. Like have Montez main event, and then still have Angelo come back and do a mid card title or something like that. I think if they take Street Profits and do what they're doing with the New Day, I think that will be a good thing to do with that tag team, because I think it's they're one of those tag teams that do remind you of the New Day, and have that same kind of swag and style that the New Day does. So
yeah, I was going to say more along the lines of MVP and Bobby, like have Angelo Dawkins start dressing sharp, and kind of being like a player agent for Montez.
I can see that happening as well. Either way it goes, I can see both routes taken with both of them. Then we go to Edge versus The Miz. I thought it was a rather entertaining match. I love that they do the Brood rated R gimmick a little bit, like mixture of both with Edge. That entrance is always going to be cool to see no matter what. I think Angel asked about it, or Matt asked about why they doing that. But I really enjoyed that entrance, no matter when.
Well, if Matt would have watched Raw the week before, he would have knew why they were doing that. But Matt is about to dive back into his weekly WWE dumb. So maybe we can get him on for the Rumble prediction show or something.
We'll get him on. I think it's partly that season. So WrestleMania season is always Matt's go to WWE and watch it season. But yeah, no, this match, I love seeing Beth Phoenix come out, even though they kind of, I feel like they botched that intro. I don't know if they really did.
It came out a little too early, and the camera guy wasn't ready. Yeah.
Either that, or it would. But the way that the ref that Miz sold it was perfect still, regardless of the botch. And like when you see like the ref just stare and just point, and then you see the Miz just be like, "Hey, turn around. There's she's right behind you." Was pretty cool to see. I don't know. I think Matt asked a good question. Would it be too bad for Miz and Maurice to take a loss again? Because anytime that they're together, they've taken a loss against a couple. Going back to John Cena and Nikki Bella, I think that was the last time that they were together in the ring. If
I think you can get away with that Rumble if you start building Miz back up after Rumble. Because Miz will be on the Mania card. I don't know what he'll do, but he'll be on the Mania card. I actually wouldn't mind Miz being the quote-unquote host who takes the stunner from Stone Cold.
I wouldn't mind seeing that either. Specifically, since in Dallas, you're definitely going to see a Stone Cold appearance.
And not only that, like I think Miz would be a great guest to have on Broken Skull because he's been through so much too.
Yeah, I will say that regardless of what people think of the Miz, I think Miz is one of the most respectable people in the roster. Has done a lot, and he's pretty much one of WWE's workhorses. Regardless of what people think of him, he's always there doing media. He's always there doing any event that WWE does. He's always there representing the company to the fullest. So I will say that that about him. So I would love to see him either as a guest host or see him do something big. I think this year might be a big Miz moment as well. Specifically with all the media attention he got with being in Dancing with the Stars. So all right. So we had that match. I thought I would give that I would it was a pretty entertaining match. Then we go into the Raw Women's Championship match, Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. I thought that this match was the better of the matches they've had so far.
Yeah. One thing that bothered me, like, it seemed like the referee was kind of in slow motion in this match. And then also, this seemed like one of the matches where they added a couple of minutes because the Roman match got canceled, right? So this in the Madcap match seems like they added some time to. And one thing that I saw that they were trying to do is before the manhandle slam, Becky was supposed to poke Liv in the eye, but the camera didn't catch it correctly. And then at the end, when she tried to put her foot on the rope, she was too far from the rope. So, where do you think they go with Liv now? Like, what's next for Liv?
You know, I was listening to Busted Open. I was listening to the Wrestling Inc. podcast afterwards, and I'm trying to catch Busted Open a little bit today. Um, but I really think they should put her on the. I think she should either, if Raquel doesn't win the Rumble like you predicted, I think she should be the one that wins the Royal Rumble and finally gets her moment at WrestleMania defeating Becky. Because I think that goes to show that WWE is invested in Liv, and every time now that she's been performing more and more with Becky, she's getting her stride in the ring, and she's starting to become not as better, but has almost as equal as the Four Horsewomen as comes in ring psychology and stuff like that. So I could see her winning the Royal Rumble and actually finally going on and getting her championship match at WrestleMania.
I think Bayley could be a good feud for her when Bayley comes back, because I think Liv's character is turning into what Bayley's character was. Obviously, not as over the top with the hugging and super baby face, but I feel like the crowd support and everything. I feel like Bayley would be a good feud for her. Like, Bayley can come back and be like, "You're just a knockoff of what I used to be," something, you know?
Yeah. And I think that would be cool. I mean, even if it builds up to, like, saying, for example, since you're saying that, Bayley comes back at Royal Rumble, right? Because it does fall around the time that she's already rehabbing, she's already doing everything she needs to do. She's already doing so. Say, for example, she comes back, Liv eliminates her to win, and then Bayley just goes to Raw and just tries to take out Liv Morgan, and then it leads to a match where the stipulation is that if Liv loses, she loses her spot at WrestleMania. I think it would be a good match for you to build to that, in my opinion, from that.
I like that. I just feel like the way they're going with Becky, I feel like she's gonna drop it to Bianca at Mania. I feel like that's where they're holding it off till. But I don't know. Like, there's so much. I got to see what happened on the TV shows from now until Rumble, and I'll let you know.
And like we've talked about this we talk about this the week to week. WrestleMania right now is so unknown since it's two nights of it. So, it's it's going to be interesting to see what happens between now and WrestleMania and how the matches are built, or what happens in these build up to these matches, because like we're going to talk about it in a minute, because literally it's the next match, the last match. But with Roman going out, they threw Brock Lesnar into the fatal 4-way, made it a fatal 5-way. And yes, Big E took going into this match, going into the fatal 5-way. Like, if you look at the match, people said it reminded them of GCW, not GCW, PWG match, which is, if you watch PWG, you'll see that there's a lot of fatal 5-ways, fatal 4-ways, that it just turns wild. It's like a Wild West kind of feeling. And that's something different that WWE did with this fatal 5-way, seeing the spots that Kevin Owens, that Seth Rollins did, taking out everybody. then Brock Lesnar coming in and eliminating everybody, and then seeing Bobby Lashley just come out and just take out Brock Lesnar, and him being the only one that Brock Lesnar really didn't touch.
It reminded me of the Fatal 4-Way they had with Braun, Samoa Joe, Roman, and Brock.
Yeah, kind of like that. So I thought that this match was a great way to close it out. It sucks because Big E lost. Because if the Roman, it just makes you think if Roman and Brock would have faced each other, I really think that Roman would have lost that one.
Yeah, and the news reports are saying that Big E was supposed to retain until Brock got added. So I don't know where they're going to go with it. What I would do, and I know they got a number one contenders match tonight on Raw. I would have Big E face Brock at Rumble, have it go 10, 12 minutes. You can have Big E look strong in a loss, and then build Bobby for Mania.
But there are other rumors circulating around that Bobby Lashley is going to win, and that Roman is going to cost Brock Lesnar the match at Royal Rumble. Then it's going to lead for Brock Lesnar to jump back to SmackDown and build to that match at WrestleMania.
I feel like that's so convoluted. Here's what I would do. Keep Brock on Raw.
Yeah.
Long-term build to next Mania. Figure it out, as you're going. Long-term it till next Mania. I have Walter face Roman.
Oh, you just threw a wrench into the whole stuff.
Because Walter's no longer. We don't touch on personal life here, but Walter wanted to stay overseas with his family. He no longer is married, and he is going to be working more dates in the States, it seems, because he's on the New Year's Evil card. So I would love to see Walter get like a little mini run Mania. I think it would. I don't know if enough people know Walter for him to win the Rumble, but
I think enough people know Walter, but I don't see Walter winning the Royal Rumble. I'll say it that much. But being that, I don't want to spoil Raw, but that first segment had a lot to do with that match. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
All right.
So, but I will say this: the build up to WrestleMania has definitely gotten interesting with not yesterday's, but Saturday's day one. So there's a lot in the air right now, and we'll see what happens. Because, like I said, a lot of creative plans got pushed back or got messed up due to certain situations. So, but that's it, pretty much it. Any more thoughts on the Fatal 5-Way?
No, I thought it was a lot of fun. This was a good pay-per-view for someone who's been out of WWE to get back in. It's an easy watch. There's a good opener. There's a good closer. The stuff in the middle isn't horrible. It's good above average. So I think people will enjoy day one, and I think they'll go forward with. They'll probably change the name because it can't be day one every year. But this is supposed to be Nick Khan's baby, and I think they did a great job with it.
Yeah, they did. I think this is one of those ones that if they do it again, I think it could fall on a Sunday because there's no leap year this year, is there?
There's no what?
Leap year. We don't have 29 days in February this year.
I don't know how all that works, but yeah, they can figure all that out. Call it New Year's Bash or something. Whatever AEW is not calling their thing, you can call it that. But yeah.
Well, I will say this: next year does fall on a Sunday, so we could do day one on a Sunday if it happens. Anyways, moving on. Tomorrow we have New Year's Evil, the first NXT show of 2022. We're doing some predictions, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens this year, tomorrow, because we have pretty nice matches coming up. We have.
I hope this card doesn't get affected with the COVID stuff. I hope
not either.
It is, yeah.
All right, let's kick it off. It's starting off with Riddle and MSK versus Imperium.
Man, this one's so hard to pick. I think MSK and Riddle win.
I don't know. I see Imperium winning. I think having Riddle go back to NXT is big, but seeing Walter back in the States and be in this match, I think it's a bigger deal than we are anticipating in a sense.
Yeah. I can see it going your way. I'm gonna go MSK. You're gonna go Imperium, just so we're on separate ends. We'll see what happens. Like I'd be happy either way. I think
Yeah.
this will be a fun. I think you should open the show with this. Let them go. Let them go 20 minutes to open the show.
Yeah, I think so too. Next is the Roderick Strong versus Carmelo Hayes, and we talked about this last week. I think the last time we were on about it.
I think that's
Do
gonna be a
we?
banger.
I think so too. But do we see who do we see winning? That's the question.
I think Mello wins, but we did do a show last week. That Trick Williams and Bivens back and forth was great.
Yeah, I loved it. I'm not gonna lie, that was one of my favorite segments. Just
And
the translator portion of it was hella funny. I will
and
say that.
I crap on wrestlers that don't have charisma, So it was good to see Roddy made me laugh a couple of times, and I haven't gotten that from Roddy a lot.
And,
When
and,
Roddy
and,
was like, "What's he saying?"
yeah, like, and then him just playing along to the last of it, because I watched it over again this morning, and it was just watching Roddy's reaction to the whole conversation was just funny as hell. But no, I think Roger retains and he unifies the titles. I think it'll be something that he does. I think they have a lot of invested in the Diamond Mine, so I think that we could probably see Roderick Strong retaining in this one.
I would love for Mello and Trick to get a woman just so they could counter out Ivy Nile.
Yeah,
Amari Miller has been getting a lot of matches. So I think she could be one, maybe Last Legend,
yeah,
just to counteract the Ivy Nile stuff because I think Ivy Nile is money. I think
I think
Ivy
so too.
Nile. I think Ivy Nile is what AEW wants.
Jade,
What? No, not Jade.
Layla,
The M. No, the M. Yeah, I think Ivy Nile
Layla
is
Hirsch.
what AEW wants Layla to be. Hence, they just turned her heel against Chris Statlander. But I don't think Layla's at that level. I think Ivy's got so much more charisma, and
Yeah,
that's just something I'm really big on. As you know, like I love when wrestlers use charisma.
I agree. I think that's a good point, and I'm loving Diamond Mine right now, even with everything going on with them. I love it. I like that they're investing their time and money in them. Their money. Even with the tag team guys, they're the brothers. It's money. It spells money, and then having Roderick Strong. I keep calling Roddy, having Roddy just be at the forefront of the Diamond Mine and having the mouthpiece that they have, it makes the group even makes the faction even more better. All right, going on. Mandy Rose, Raquel versus Corey Jade. Mandy Rose versus Raquel Gonzalez versus Corey Jade in a triple threat for the NXT Women's Championship.
Mandy retains. I think this is the last we see of Raquel in NXT until Rumble.
I agree. I think this is her last match before. I think she's getting called up after Royal Rumble.
And
And
I,
and
I
I
think they make Cora. I think Cora is the MVP of this match, though.
I can see Cora winning though. This would be interesting. It would be a good way to write off Raquel, make Cora look strong, and then still at the same time not make Mandy look weak. Because what
Cora
could
win.
happen?
Cora wins.
Cora
Raquel gives her
wins by
that
pinning
hug,
Raquel.
and Raquel gives her a hug like you did it, girl. This is your show now, and she rides off into sunset, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still going with Mandy as the winner, though. I would love to see Cora win, but I think Mandy wins.
Ah.
So you're going
All right.
Cora?
I'm going Cora. Damn, we've disagreed on all these so far.
Yeah.
I think this is one that we can probably agree on, but I think this match is gonna be a banger like it was the first time. But Braun Breaker versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship.
I think we're going to disagree again. I got Tommaso winning.
I got Braun winning.
I got Tommaso winning because I don't know. Something's missing with Braun Breaker for me still.
I I don't think he's ready, but I think at this point it's going to be a I think we're going to see Tommaso Ciampa head to the main roster. If not, he's headed off to the sunset elsewhere. Because Tommaso did say in an interview that he wanted to make a WrestleMania moment before anything else.
I don't know. I see Tommaso winning. You're going with Braun?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. Tomorrow's gonna be interesting, and I know next week we're gonna have a lot to talk about because we have Raw, which I do want to talk about Raw next week, or maybe we'll come back probably Thursday or Friday and do a second episode to talk about Raw and talk about New Year's Evil and the AEW move to TBS because that's also
we'll probably have to come back Thursday because then the following week we got Hard to Kill and that week's stuff, you know.
Yeah. So going into
because Battle of the Belts is also Saturday.
The what?
Battle of the Belts.
Oh yeah, Battle of the Belts. I forgot about that. So yeah, we'll be back on Thursday.
Yeah.
But all right, going into AEW right quick before we move on to Hard to Kill because this is a Hard to Kill card is going to be interesting already. It's sold out, so this is a big first for Impact in a while.
And this isn't one of those Impact sellouts that people on the internet like to mock Impact for, where they give out free tickets. No, I bought tickets. It's a legit sellout. All
right, so ladies and gentlemen, before we go forward, if you watch Impact Hard to Kill this Saturday, Moise will be on the left-hand side of the stage on the ramp. So if you see Moise, take a picture and tweet it to @WeeklyWrestlingHeat on Instagram or on Twitter _WrestlingHeat, or you could tag us on Instagram @WeeklyWrestlingHeat, either or, if you see them.
All I know for sure is Deanna and Chelsea Green will be on our TikTok, and probably Matt Cardona. They will definitely be on our TikTok.
All right, before we go into that, because I know we want to talk about that, but this Wednesday is AEW's first official show on TBS. It's their first official move to the mothership, as they call it. And looking at the card so far, it's nice.
One thing I want to say before you go into this card. Me, you, Justin, there's times we crap on AEW in our group chat. I want AEW to hit their biggest number Wednesday. I want them to.
I really do.
I know Tony's going to send out some stupid-ass tweet, but I want them to hit their biggest. Yeah, I want them to hit their biggest number.
So, do we want to talk about that? No,
we're not getting back in. Me and Elias Justin almost ended our. Elias Justin and Angel almost all ended our friendship. Last weekend.
I will say this: it's not what you say; it's how you say it. And I think that what happened this weekend that brought back to Tony Khan was something as one of those situations. It's not what you say; it's how you say it. And I think it's a learning experience for everybody.
Not only that, that's the great thing about wrestling is like if we're all in different states, aside from you and Angel, you know, but like I feel like if we were all in Houston or we were all in Dallas, like this is one of those things we would be like, all right, light up the hookahs, set the bonfire, let's have a couple of drinks and talk about this shit. And that's the great thing about wrestling, you know?
Yeah, I agree. But anyways, going into it, this Wednesday is the first official show on TBS, and it's a stacked card. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty interested to see what a lot of these matches. So we have so far on the card, we have Malachi Black versus Pillman Jr., which I think we're going to see probably, and this is just a prediction, we're probably going to see Malachi Black win, but we're going to get a debut from his tag team partner,
Brody King.
Brody King. I think we're going to see Brody King
Are
this
they gonna?
Wednesday.
You think they're gonna change his name because of the Brody or no?
I don't. I would hate for them to change his name because his name has always been Brody King.
There's so many plays on the word king. Like you could play on it so many ways. You know, like Triple H is the King of Kings, King of the Ring. There's so many ways you can play around on it. I hope he
Yeah,
keeps his name too. I could see them getting rid of the Brody just because it got a
yeah.
big part
The
of
AEW's
AEW.
attachment to Brody Lee, so I can see that happening too. So
Um,
speaking of which,
so yeah, I think we see Brody and we see a dark Julia Hart.
I could see that happening too. That I ironically. Anyways, all right. Then we go into the next match. This is what's so far on the card. I know we're probably going to see more
Wait,
than
Elijah,
this, but
one thing on that first match. We both have Malachi winning, right?
yes, we do.
Okay. Does Griff join the House of Black?
I don't see it happening, but I see both of them getting taken out by a debuting Brody King and
You
Malachi.
think Julia Hart joins the House of Black?
I don't see it. I don't see it, but I wouldn't surprise me. But at the same time, we have so many free agents that are women as well that I wouldn't be amazed if the House of Black expands to members.
I think Mercedes Martinez would be badass in it. The only reason I want to see Julia Hart in it is because we haven't had a character switch like that in AEW yet, you know? So I want to see how
Yeah,
AEW
can handle
executes
something
it.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can see that. There's a lot of possibilities with that one, but I see a lot of good things from that one. All right, Ruby Soho versus Jade Cardhill, the finals of the TBS Championship match.
We're both going to say
So
Jade, but we want Ruby.
yeah, that's basically what I was gonna say. I like as much as I want Ruby to win it, I think that they're gonna put their money on Jade Cargill. Cargill.
And I think even Tony had a little bit of thought after everything that happened last weekend. Jade's winning clearly.
Yeah, especially after he had a talk with Leo Rush, but that's neither here nor there. um,
I will say
anyways,
major props to Leo because he did come out take Swole's side, but then a couple of I want to say yesterday he's like, I love working for Tony Khan. He said something along those
yeah,
lines.
no, he
So
said that he talked to management and they made some strides and made some accordances to what happened, but at the
he's
same
matured
time,
a
all I
lot. He's matured a
yeah,
lot.
he's really matured a lot, and I appreciate that about Leo. But I would have rather have Tony come out and say something like that as well instead of just staying quiet, because that would have also shown that he can see the situation and understands the situation. But regardless, big props to Leo Rush for addressing the situation of what happened this past weekend. We're not going to go into it because
I think I also want to say I know we're getting there in time too. Will Hobbs I think was the classiest reply of it all, where he was like, "Look, I've had matches with Christian, I've had matches with CM Punk. I think the company's booking me right." He didn't bring up the color, he didn't bring up anything, and I think he was really classy on his reply. So good for Will Hobbs.
yeah. All right. Then we go into the semi last match. It's Lucha Bros versus Jurassic Express for the tag team titles. I think this match is going to be a banger, but I still see the Lucha Bros retaining.
I do too, and I don't know. I see Lucha Bros retaining, but then I want to see what happened with Pride and Powerful now that they're in the middle of the Jericho Eddie Kingston thing.
That's going to be interesting. I think that we're going to see the same thing as we say we're going to about to see the Pinnacle implode. I think we're about to see the Inner Circle implode a little bit. Um,
Eddie has to put Jericho, or Jericho has to put Eddie over.
I can see that happening, but we still.
Eddie needs a win, dude. Eddie Kingston needs a win. I know we talked to Justin about it a couple weeks ago. He's like, no, Eddie Kingston can keep on losing, it'll still be over. But no, I think Eddie Kingston needs a win, and I think
Well,
Jericho's the perfect guy for it.
I think at some point you have to start thinking more on like what he really is doing in a sense. Um what he really is doing or what they're doing with him, because like you could be a great star, and if you if you come back with the same things, or if you come back with the same, if you keep on the same trajectory, it takes away from his stock. Regardless if he's the heart and soul of the locker room or if he's the locker room leader, you have to have him win a match or a big feud, because lately he's been on the back end of these feuds, and that's where kind of like,
It reminds me of what WWE keeps doing with Dolph Ziggler.
yeah, basically. It's just that the difference between Dolph Ziggler and Eddie Kingston is that Eddie Kingston's more put into the main event spotlight more than Dolph Ziggler is.
Well, Dolph wants to work on his side projects, yeah.
Yeah. So I see interesting things building up from this storyline. It is going to put the Pride and Powerful in a particular situation, um, which will be interesting to see. But nonetheless, we're gonna go into the last match, which I think if this match goes the hour, I think all we're gonna see is those three matches. I'd be honest with you, as far as anything going on with AEW. But Adam Page versus
Four
Brian.
matches, right? 4 matches.
It's 4 matches, but you have 3 of them, which is Lucha Bros, Jurassic Express, Ruby versus Jade, and Malachi versus Brian Pillman. And then you have the main event, which is Adam Page versus Bryan Danielson. It could go an hour.
I think your debut on TBS, you have to have MJF, CM Punk back and forth.
I don't know. That's the thing. Like, the thing with this whole situation is I like the fact that they're gonna do this match again. But will having another hour match take away from the mystique of a...
It's not going an hour, Elias. I told you. It's going to go 59 minutes and Hangman's going to win.
It's still an hour.
Who are the 3 judges? Let's do that.
Nobody has announced the 3 judges yet. That's the interesting part about this whole situation.
Ric Flair, Taz, Mark Henry.
I think it's going to be Tully, Arn, and Rick.
Okay.
We're going to see a 4 horseman reunion.
Okay. We will see. Either way, so you think Daniel Bryan wins?
I think Adam Page retains.
I think he does too, and I don't think it goes an hour.
I don't know about the hour mark thing, but I think that
I think it's going to be... You're Tony Khan. You book it. You tell me what you do.
I would do 45 minutes just to keep the people on suspense to get the ratings pop. And then just do Adam Page winning. I just straight up coming back in once he's being down, and then all of a sudden he does a comeback and then wins with the buckshot lariat.
Okay. So one thing that people crapped about is when it went an hour, they said there were too many commercial breaks. I'm going to say 25 to 30 minutes uninterrupted or 1 commercial break.
I would say if Tony has the balls to do this, I would do the first hour commercial free.
It's not on Tony. It's on TBS. It's the ad revenue.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like if TBS has the balls because they're wanting to do the big show, I would say that they do the first hour for this match, or however this match is, commercial free, and then just hit the commercials after that.
So you open with this match.
Oh. Or you could close with this match and make the last hour free, commercial free. That way you could get the ads in the first hour.
I would like that. Like, I would like Jim Ross and the announcer being like, "Hey, after these entrances, we're gonna go one commercial, and then this match is commercial free." I would like that. I do think Hangman retains as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's get into Hard
If
to Kill because we're getting to the 1 hour mark too.
I will say this before we go on, if Adam Page loses this match, I don't. I would hate for Adam Page to lose the match. Reason why is because he just got the title,
I agree.
and I think this will damage. It won't do much damage, but it will damage Hangman's stock a little bit.
I agree.
So this is going to be an interesting one for the books to see.
Only way I'm okay with Hangman losing this is if
Uh-oh.
it leads to Hangman taking that TNT title from Cody.
I wouldn't mind seeing that either. So,
all right,
but we'll see.
Hard to Kill. Saturday, sold out. I'm gonna be there. First match: Jonathan Gresham versus Chris Sabin, ROH title.
I think Gresham retains, but this match is going to be a banger.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be like getting my food during this match. Oh god, dude, the wrestling world's about to crap on me.
You're good.
I promised Elias I would watch this match and see what this Jonathan Gresham guy is all about. So I will go with Jonathan Gresham as well.
And I think given that Chris Sabin is an ROH alumni, you're probably going to see honor rolls on this one.
I don't know what any of that means, but yes.
Honor rolls is just basically handshake. The honor code basically just a handshake, and a handshake at the beginning, handshake at the end.
Okay. Yeah, sure. The hug. Trey Miguel versus Steve Macklin, X Division title match.
I see Trey Miguel winning.
I see Trey Miguel winning as well. I don't think Steve Macklin needs a title. He's just a badass.
Yeah, he's good where he's at.
The Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics, versus the Influence, Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood, formerly known as Emma. With Caleb with the K.
I think that the Inspiration wins, and I will say that I really like their entrance song.
I think the Inspiration wins as well. That this will probably be an entrance. These will probably be a couple of entrances you guys see on TikTok. So go follow us at Weekly Wrestling Heat on TikTok. All right. Now, this match, I think there might be a wrench thrown in because Rich Swann did test positive for COVID. It's been well within 5 days, so I don't know what's going on there. We'll see. It's a 10-man hardcore match. Eddie Edwards, Willie Mack, Rich Swann, Heath Slater, and Rhino versus the Good Brothers and Violent by Design.
I think this match is gonna steal a show, low key. Just watching just the hardcore wars that they've done in Impact and TNA have been always
Full
bangers.
Metal Mayhem.
Mayhem. This is a hard one to pick because I love Violent by Design, and adding them with the Good Brothers is a good combination, but it's also a combination of a combustible element that can blow up in their face. But
because they want the titles.
Yeah. So I will say that the faces, which is Rhino, Eddie Edwards, Heath, Rich Swann, and Willie Mack, will win this one. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Good Brothers and Violent by Design win.
I know I'm gonna miss so much in this match because it's so hard to watch everything going on. So this will definitely be a match I come back home and watch. But yeah, I think the faces win as well. Josh Alexander versus Jonah.
I think this match is also going to be a banger. I think Josh Alexander will retain or will win. My bad.
I think he'll win too. He needs a big win after he got screwed over by Moose, and I think Jonah's on a pay per appearance. So
yeah,
I think Jonah's just there to put Alexander over. All right. First ever Knockouts Ultimate X match. Winner becomes number one contender for the Impact Women's title. Chelsea Green, Jordan Grace, Lady Frost, Rosemary, Tasha Steeles, Rachel Ellering.
I'm gonna have to go with Jordan Grace.
I was going to go Chelsea Green because I think they need to do her and Deanna.
I would love to see that, but we're gonna. I don't know. I'm like, it's out of Rachel and not Rachel. It's out of Jordan and Chelsea.
I agree because I think Rosemary and Tasha Steeles will cancel each other out. I think Lady Frost is there for the big spot because she's a high flyer. And I think Rachel and Jordan are the powerhouses, right? And they're also a tag team. So
yeah,
I can see that's why I think Chelsea Green wins. I think this is going to be another phenomenal match, though.
This is going to be the best women. I will say this. I think if done correctly, this will be the best women's match to kick off the new year.
Well, it's gotta. They're a hard act to follow right after it. Nikki and Deanna in a Texas Death Match.
Ooh. I think Deanna wins this one.
I think Deanna gets her title back too.
And then we're gonna see, and then I can see Roxy coming out and getting the match set up for title versus title, between her and Deanna.
I don't know who Roxy is, but everyone talks her up. So, and I know she's a Texas girl, so
we'll see what happens. Roxy is the youngest ROH champion in history, but also she is one of the youngest superstars out there. And there's a rumor that she may be going to WWE.
She's one of Booker's students, right?
Yep, she was actually the youngest Diamonds Division champions as well. She's been training with Booker T since she was 16, 17. So, yeah, she's done a lot for her since she's done a lot in her short career, and for her to be pretty well respected by the veterans like that, she's well respected by a lot of the veterans. She has a bright future ahead of her if people book her correctly.
All right, now the main event. This is probably where y'all are going to see me run into the ring and try to help Cardona. Moose versus Cardona versus Morrissey.
You know what? But that's not the main event.
That is the main event.
No, the Ultimate Knockouts. Ultimate X match is the main event.
They said that was the opener.
They did?
I thought that's what they said on Impact. There's one more episode of Impact, so I'm sure they'll clear that up. But
yeah,
under review show, I thought they said yeah. Okay, well, why would you have a number one contenders match be the main event when the actual title match is on the card?
Because it's the first time they're doing this type of match, so I don't know. Okay.
Either way, this whole card is banger. But who do you got winning the men's title?
I think that.
Remember, I'm in attendance.
I think that Moose wins.
Even with me interfering?
Yes. And no, okay. I'm not putting money on your books.
Okay. I'm gonna.
Well, maybe. I'll put $5 on your books. There you go.
I think Cardona wins. Because I think Chelsea Green wins. And I think they can have that moment because they just got married. But Cardona needs to win because I will be very upset if he doesn't. And, if it's getting out of hand for Cardona, I might have to go even things up.
That'll be funny to see. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and see this. If I see you run into the ring, I'm going to record this. So
I could take Moose.
Can you really?
I think I can. I think I can take Moose.
No, you can't. You wouldn't even be able to take on Cardona if you wanted to.
Cardona's my boy. I would never fight him. No, I think Moose is gonna win because Josh Alexander and Moose is where they're gonna go. But I want Cardona to win.
Well, I mean, I say Moose retains, but I also wouldn't. I don't think it wouldn't surprise me if Matt Cardona won. But also Cardona is also gonna probably challenge for the NWA title as well because he showed up on NWA too.
He's gonna get all the titles. He's the belt collector.
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting card. And I think, honestly, this is one of the most interesting cards for Impact in a long time. Being from top to bottom.
I don't see a bad match on here.
No, I don't either. I even like the most thing that interests me about this whole thing is the Impact Knockouts Ultimate X match because that's the first time they've done it for the women.
Yeah.
So I that and the 10-man hardcore war match, I think it's gonna be those two matches are gonna stand out. But I also think Josh Alexander versus Jonah, Gresham versus Saban, and even Trey Miguel versus Steve Macklin are gonna be pretty good bangers as well.
Dude, I think this could be a show of the year candidate. At the end of the year, I think this might be one of those cards we look back on.
I think so too. I can agree on that. I think the only match that probably may be meh and not even that will be the tag team for the women.
Yeah. But that'll be good TikTok content for us.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm Moise. That's Elias. We'll be back.
We'll be back Thursday. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this evening on this first episode of Weekly Wrestling Heat of 2022, which is the kickoff to our new season. We'll be back on Thursday with a second episode covering what happened tomorrow at New Year's Evil, and then covering the TBS debut of AEW Dynamite. And we'll be back to actually predict Battle of the Belts.
And I'll try to get Matt on. Let's see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Follow us on our social media pages. I am Mr. Laredo, Moise H91. As always, follow us on our social media pages. As always, peace out and have a good evening. Peace. I don't know why I just said peace.